Good morning, everybody. I am making one of, well, not one of, my husband's most favorite thing in the world, and that's a pound cake. And y'all, I have got a show-stopping recipe that is literally out of this world. Before we get started, I want to show you my pound cake, but you know I am going to check and make sure that we're up and going. How are y'all on this Wednesday? I've been running like a chicken with my head cut off, and that is the truth. Is that saying still okay to say? I hope so, because I just said it. Let me know who's out there. I see some likes, and just give me a shout out. Let me know that you're here. Good morning, Gail. I appreciate you watching. Always good to see y'all. Now, I told you, I'm going to show you this pound cake. Hey, Brenda and Pamela. Okay. Will you look at this? This should not be called a pound cake. This should be called 10 pound cake. I have never in my life made a more beautiful pound cake, an easier pound cake, and a more delicious pound cake. And y'all, I am telling the honest to God's truth. I'm really blessed in some ways. Being a content creator, I'll show you a little bit more about that pound cake here in just a minute. But I, from time to time, get products sent to me. And I had a company reach out to me a couple of weeks ago, and the name of the company is Old Country Kitchenware. As a matter of fact, I posted a link to them in the description if you'll scroll down. Have you ever seen a square tube pan? Well, they asked me if they could send me one and if I could try it along with their recipe. And y'all, I'm blown away. I will have to say, when I saw the recipe, I was a tiny bit skeptical, but after making that pound cake, I am a believer, an absolute believer. Now, this is a large pound cake. This recipe is not going to fit in your average round tube pan. This is the kind of pound cakes that you see in restaurants or specialty stores. And y'all, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I'll talk more about this pan here in just a minute. But I remember as a little girl seeing the square tube pans or the square cakes, but I'm so glad that they're bringing this back to 2024, because I think it was really popular back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and for whatever reason, people changed and went to the round. What were they thinking is all I can say. All right. This recipe could not be easier. There are no special ingredients. I'm using some all-purpose flour, and I'm going to show you exactly how I made this one. I'm starting with 4 cups of sugar. Y'all, this is a big pound cake, okay? It's a show-stopping pound cake. So I've got 4 cups of just regular granulated sugar, and to this I'm adding 4 sticks of butter, and the butter has been softened. That's the equivalent of 2 cups of butter, and I've just let it sit out on my counter and get nice and soft. It doesn't take much in this weather for that to happen. And I am going to put this on my mixer, attach this, and I see that I forgot something that I really need, which happens to be this. I can't mix without this. You're going to use your whisk attachment. And if you don't have a stand mixer, then by all means just use a large bowl and your regular hand mixer. That is just fine. Now we're going to go ahead and blend this butter and sugar. And we want it to get nice and fluffy, and I am going to start that right now. I'm going to push this out of the way for just a minute. Maybe it won't be so loud. And let's see, while this is happening, who's with us. Hey, Ozark Living and Cooking. Appreciate you watching. Sally Odom, Kim from Pennsylvania, Gail, love you all. Sheila Jane, I always appreciate you. Michelle, Rudy, Kathy Hill. My goodness, lots of people are tuned in, and I can't be more pleased than that. Now let me pull this. After we get this done, the mixing is really fairly easy. If you need to turn down your volume, I totally understand, but don't turn away because you're going to want to see this. Now I'm going to give it a good little boost. And one thing you want to do with a pound cake is make sure that you scrape the bottom, especially when you're using a stand mixer. This is super important. Just go in, and as you can see, I hope you can see, let's see, let me bring that around. One of the reasons why I keep my iPad going while I am doing live videos is, first of all, to say hey to you, because I can't read the fine print on my camera. But second of all, is to make sure that you can see what I'm seeing. So, I've scraped the bottom, and I'm going to give this just another little, just a good power move. You want your sugar and your butter to turn a kind of a light lemon color. There we go. Now you can actually let this go for about 5 minutes. Just walk away from it if you want to. Put it on medium speed and just let it go to town and get nice and creamy. But this is the look that you're going for. And back on this goes. Oops, had a little bit jump out. You get back in there. We don't want anything to go to waste today. Nothing at all. I'm going to put this back on, and now we're going in for the next ingredient. Yes, here we go. Come on. Now this is an old-fashioned country cream cheese cake. So a lot of times you'll see in a recipe that heavy cream is added to the pound cake. Well, it's not in this one. We've just got 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. Just let it sit on the counter, and that's going right in. And so is all of these extras. And I've also got some vanilla extract. Now the recipe that is on this tube pan, when you get this tube pan, and by the way, I'm not a sponsored influencer, I'm just sharing my good fortune with you, but when you get your tube pan, this comes with it, and on the back of it you've got this pound cake recipe. And in the recipe it calls for a teaspoon of salt, but I went the lazy route and I used salted butter. So if you're using unsalted butter, then you need to add a teaspoon of salt. If not, and you go with the salted butter, then eliminate the salt. And that's what I did. Oh, come on you. There we go. And I'm adding a tablespoon of vanilla. If I err, I hope I err on the side of more and not less. I just eyeballed it. Now I'm going to let this cream cheese and sugar and butter all mix together. And I'm putting this on a medium speed. Oh, y'all, it's looking beautiful. Let me just show you. Can you see that? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to put it on high and get it nice and creamy. Look at that. Done. Y'all, pound cakes have never been so easy. Now, every single time I add an ingredient, I am going to go in and scrape my bowl. I can't tell you how important that is, y'all. If you don't do that, then you're going to have things that settle on the bottom that are not going to be mixed in throughout your pound cake, and that is not happy. Okay, so we've got that. Next, I have got 10 large eggs. That's why I'm calling this a 10-pound pound cake. And I've already broken them and or cracked them, and I put them in a bowl. And y'all don't ever crack an egg and then try to add it to a pound cake. I have done that before, and I will tell you, you will end up with shells in your pound cake, and that's not good. Now, I want to put this on low speed, and I'm going, let's see, I want you to see this. The whole point of me doing this is so that I can bring you along. So we're going to add 1 egg at a time, or 2. And that's okay, y'all. Usually the eggs will separate for you, but not always. And what you want to do is just make sure that the eggs are well blended into each, or well blended each time you add them, and then go in for more. There's 1. And you want your eggs at room temperature. That's super important when you're making a pound cake, because if not, and you add cold eggs, the butter and the cream cheese are going to seize up on you, and you want everything just that nice, soft, mellow feel. Come on, these eggs, there we go, they're starting to break. Some of them just don't want to give up. They want to hang on, and look at how pretty this is already looking. And in we go with another. Just be patient, y'all. And another. Last night, I had a really hard time getting my eggs to separate in the bowl, and I added 2 at a time. It was not by choice. And look at my pound cake. You know, it doesn't have to be difficult. I'm just going to boost that up just a little bit. Now turn it back down. And here we go. This is kind of the tedious part in just being time consuming, because it is important to let these eggs just get well blended each time. There we go. We're almost at the end, y'all. Hey, we've done pretty good. I've only dropped 2 in there at one time, and the rest came out by themselves. I'd say that was pretty good. And last one. And all the stuff. There we go. Oh. Now I'm going to give this one little boost. And here we go with the sides again, y'all. Every single time. Because if not, I can see some stuff sticking to the side of my mixing bowl, and you just got to get it in. Okay, that's it. Now for the flour. And I told you I'm using white lily. I love white lily flour. If it's not available to you where you live, then just any all-purpose flour will do. But we have this. This is readily available in the South, and I happen to love it. And y'all, I did not sift it. I might want to rename this pound cake to the Lazy Lady's pound cake, because I just thought, you know what? The average person is probably not going to bring out every tool in their kitchen and start sifting and doing this and doing that. So I just thought, well, I'm going to go the easy route. Now, I just added a 1/2 cup of flour, and this is 4.5 cups. I've already measured it out, and it's right there. And now I just want this to blend. Once you start adding flour to any of your cakes, you really want to take it easy with your mixing, because we want this gluten to stay nice and pliable. And if you overmix, your cake is going to be tough. So just blend this until it's in. All right. Now the recipe says to add 2 cups at a time. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and measure this one out, and then I know that the rest of the flour that's in here will be 2 cups. Now I'm going to turn my mixer on low, and again, I'm going to blend it. And it goes pretty fast, y'all. Matter of fact, I'm just going to help it along a little bit and gently raise that speed. If you see any lumps, just make sure that they're all out. And so far, so good. Okay, here's the last 2 cups. And I can see a mess that's about to happen. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I was about to say it's looking pretty good, but I was speaking too soon. I want every single bit of that in here. So here we go with the last thing, and let's talk about the pan. Just gonna mix this up. Let me see who's with me. Hey, Wendy and Robin, and I see that Old Country Kitchenware has tuned in. Hey there, I'm so glad that you're watching today. I'm in love with your kitchenware. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go, y'all. I am going to pull this out of the way. I want to shake this off. Remove this. We don't need the vanilla. We don't need the flour. All we need now is this delicious batter. And by the way, last night, Jimmy licked the bowl and the beater. Shamelessly. I said, do you want this? And he's like, yeah. Okay, now, once again, we're going to just situate this just a little bit. Once again, we're going to go ahead and pull from the bottom, because you're going to have just some settlement that's down there. And look, y'all, can you see this gorgeous, beautiful, rich batter? It is just, oh my goodness, y'all. Okay, now I've already prepared my baking pan, this beautiful square tube pan, and I'll tell you that they have a recipe that is on the back of their little insert, and it's called Old Country Pan Coat, and y'all, it's amazing. It's so simple. It's a game changer. You'll have to go to their page and check that out, but I've just coated my pan, and I will say that the cake came out effortlessly. I have got some non-stick tube pans, and y'all, I don't know why they named them non-stick, because they stick like crazy. And this slid out effortlessly. Now I'm kind of going around just a little bit. I'm going to help it. And, ooh, I didn't get everything at the bottom. And mix you in. Let's see here. I'm just going around. I know I'm not doing a good job at showing y'all, but this is kind of awkward. I watch those food channels, and they've got everything turned around backwards, you know, and they're using their food processor, and they're doing everything just right. And I tell you what, I wish there was a school for that, because I have not figured it out yet. And do not think for a minute that that is going to waste. This is going to be my snack here in just a few minutes. Now I want to go ahead and even this out. You want a nice even layer. Ooh, I got a little bit on the sides. That is okay. Just leave it alone. You don't want to mess up that coating that you put on there. Come on. Now I want to tell you something. Don't leave me. Y'all, I've got my oven preheated to 300 degrees, and this cake is going to cook low and slow. This takes anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours. I will say, for me, it took 2.5 hours for this cake. And Jimmy and I were watching TV. We'd already eaten dinner. I cleaned up the dishes, and I said, you know, I'm going to make this pound cake real quick. And we watched this thing cook, and y'all, we were both just like glued to the oven door, because it kept rising and rising. And y'all, it rose a good 2 inches above the tube, and it's just spectacular. I could not believe my eyes, and he couldn't either. And y'all, there's just something very extraordinary about this recipe in this pan. Now, I am going to go ahead and put this in the oven, and I've got a baking sheet down here. I don't use my lower oven much, but I have to use it for baking. And I'm setting my timer on 2 hours, and I'll start checking it. Last night, it took about 2 hours and I'd say 20 minutes. And y'all, I had to use a skewer to test it, because there's no toothpick big enough that's going to go down into that cake. And I'm just being real, y'all. And I'm also about to be really real. Now, there is no way that I could cook this pound cake last night without giving my husband a slice. You know what he told me, y'all? He said they won't mind. They'll want me to have some. So what's your thoughts on that? I bet you would have given him some too. Well, we both had some. And y'all, it is so good. And I'm going to go ahead and cut another slice and let you see this gorgeous cake. Here we go. Ooh, sorry. sorry, I'm making noise. Look at this. It's got that crusty, just, I want to pick the top off and eat it. That kind of thing. It's just picture perfect. I didn't get a picture before I sliced it, not one that I would want to reshare. So this one is going to be my picture pound cake. And I think if the Old Country Kitchenware will allow me, this is going to go in my cookbook. Y'all, this is just amazing. Before I taste it, I'll tell you one thing. My cousin Tammy is known for her pound cakes. None of us, we all make her recipe, but hers are always better. It's just the way it is. She's just developed a knack for the pound cakes. And I sent her last night the picture of this, and she's, oh my goodness. I cannot believe that pound cake. I mean, I think I impressed her. And you know what she told me? She said, you tell them tomorrow when you make it, because I told her I made this one tonight and I'm going to make another one tomorrow live. And she said, well, just let them know that no self-respecting Southern lady would ever not know how to make a pound cake. So, and I think she's right. It's just part of our culture, a pound cake. So, look, y'all, it's so moist, and I'm going right in. I just like to break mine off. I need a cup of coffee. I think I've got some left over. I may just heat it up in the microwave and go for it. But let's taste this. That's perfection right there. And I really mean that. From my mouth to God's ear. That is perfection. It's moist. It's flavorful. If you know pound cakes, you're going to understand what I'm about to say here. It's got that little bit of chewiness that you want because it's so dense and rich. Y'all, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'll ever go back to my old way of making pound cakes. This is going to be how I make them from now on. And I'll say that if you'd like, I thought about this last night, and I thought about going in a different direction this morning, but I chose to just stick with the recipe outside of using salted butter versus regular butter and adding the salt. But you could add, instead of the vanilla extract, use a lemon extract and then some freshly grated lemon rind. Oh, that would be so good. And then you could even make a lemon glaze and drizzle over the top of it and do a lemon pound cake. Although, y'all, it'd be hard pressed to make something any better than this. I just don't know that you can improve upon perfection. Oh, and I wanted to show you this too. I'm so glad I looked down and saw this. Old Country Kitchenware sent me this spatula too. I love a thin spatula, and it's so funny, haha, that they sent this because I've been looking for one like this, and I love just the shape of it, that it's thin, that you can get just under everything that you want to. And by the way, last night when I pulled the cake out of the oven, I let it rest for a good 10 minutes, and then I just lightly took my spatula and went down the inside of the tube pan and loosened up anything that might be trying to hang on. But y'all, like I said, it came out perfectly. So, and it was still warm. I had to go to bed. I made it late, and so I had to go to bed. And I knew that if I got up this morning and took that pound cake out of the pan, oh no. Plus Jimmy wanted a piece, so it's just what it is, but it even came out nice and warm, and that's a hard thing to do. So anyway, I just love this. Y'all check it out. I've posted a link for their page, and I've also posted a link on how you can get this beautiful tube pan. And remember, I am not a paid sponsor for this. This is just good kitchen advice from my kitchen to yours. So I hope that you will give this a try. I know you'll be just as pleased as I am. Well, you're a blessing. And I just want to thank you again for watching, and make sure that you hit that like button, send me a heart, comment, and please share this. I would appreciate that more than anything. All right, well, I think I'm going to go heat up that cup of coffee and have the rest of my pound cake. Honey's going to the groomer in just a little bit, so it's going to be a good day. I'll see you next time, y'all. I love you. Bye.